I don't feel like I deserve nice watches yet. And I'm not that. G-Shock isn't a nice watch, but when we're talking about money, it's clearly showing what's happening.
What do you mean? What is up, Watch Fam? I am Christian, the curator of the Theo and Harris Vintage Watch Shop.
My name is Michael, and this video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Terrific. More on our friends from Squarespace later.
Yes, sir.
So today we're talking about, each of us are going to be answering the question, what are the watches you wore most in 2023?
I also want to add a bonus if you acquired any watches.
If you acquired any watches. Yes, that's a good one too.
Yes, thank you.
So you know, it's an interesting question because when you answer it, the question forces you to think about your year, right? The question forces you to kind of be introspective and to say, like, you know, not only what watches did I wear, but like, why was I wearing those watches?
Yeah, right.
What in my life brought me to those watches?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And if you're really into watches, it's actually very, very telling. You know, as we all know, like, I mean, at least I buy watches this way, and I don't know if you buy them this way, but they definitely become this, right?
Sure. Okay.
Or maybe whatever. I actually don't know what I do. I'm trying to figure it out. This is all on the fly here, but they really become very, you know, emotionally ingrained in you, sentimental. Speaking of your G-Shock, very emotionally ingrained, very sentimental. They become very meaningful. You know, certain watches I look at and I'm like, oh, that's my mom. That's my dad. You know, oh, that's XYZ. You know,
Onyx
a relationship.
Gold Datejust, I think, of your mom now.
Exactly, and my, you know, my mom. I gifted my mom an Onyx Gold Datejust this year, actually.
Yeah, that's what I think about it. I see it now all the time.
I gifted my mom an Onyx Gold Datejust, 28 millimeter, on a presidential bracelet this year because I found it and I didn't want to sell it. I wanted it, but it was too small for my wrist, and that says a lot. And I was like, this is too beautiful a watch to sell. This is too beautiful. I have it. I already bought it. I should keep this. Well, what do I do with that? And what, you know, what I've said before, predominantly on the Zero, but probably here as well, is that I have a sub collection within my watch collection that in this, it's like kind of embarrassing. But like, I have a sub collection within my watch collection that that is for if I ever were to have like daughters one day.
Sure.
I would love them to have those watches. Like I've already bought my imaginary daughters, they're like graduation watches, like you know, because when you're buying vintage as I do, like you can't expect to be able to do that again. That's it. The watch is here now.
Perfect case. Basculot. I wanted to get one for Taylor because when I was getting them, they were $1,500 back in college. And now they are $10,000 and up. Exactly. You can't do it in the vintage world.
Tell me about a watch. One of the watches that you wore most this year.
Definitely my Explorer, I would say, had the most wrist time, but I am kind of going 360 on that. That was a very special watch because I got it right before I drove to Canada to get the jackets for the Iron Snow from the first run. It broke in Canada. That was last year. And then this year, my girlfriend lived in Denmark, then moved home. But I went to Denmark, Germany, Italy, I don't know, a bunch of other places with work and with Taylor and everything. And with that watch, I said I will shower in every country wearing that watch. So in every country that I've been to, I showered in the Explorer. Oh, which I guess is a weird thing. People said they think that's weird to shower in your watch.
I've never showered with a watch on.
Really?
No.
Next thing people are going to say they don't shower with their socks on.
I don't shower generally.
Oh,
no,
right.
I missed your joke. I don't shower when I wear a watch. When I'm at the, I don't. Opposite way around.
And I wear a watch every day.
How when you look at that watch, it makes you feel what?
I think of specifically right now. I think of a hotel in Amsterdam with Taylor because I showered wearing that while Taylor was like just in the room watching TV and I could hear the TV going.
Was it a nice hotel?
It was actually not. It was a very nice Airbnb, but we found out that we don't want to be in like the party area of Amsterdam.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we were in like a frat style Airbnb where she's like, clean the room and get out when you're done. Right. Very nice, but clearly like meant for that.
So that watch transports you, at least right now, to Amsterdam and in general to just traveling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And building business and your relationship.
Yeah, 100%.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
That's really great. That's really great. I wore, first one I'll say is my Piaget Polo.
This is the year of the Piaget Polo, right?
For what do you mean, anniversary?
Both.
It should be coming out like in the next year or two or something like that.
Oh, really? I was going to say, really?
Yeah.
Wow. I was going to say really, like, I feel like you started talking about it, got super into it. Yep. Then I started seeing posts of Piaget watches, vintage Piaget watches by kind of everyone. but it was the brand that I feel like you solidified with this year, being like, I identify with that brand, possibly as much as Cartier.
For
if
sure,
not more.
if not more,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah. So I'll give you the long and the short of my relationship with Piaget, and I won't bore you with it because I know that a lot of you guys have heard this before, but I'll try to give you a quick synopsis.
Yeah.
I grew up in in an outer borough Italian American family, and though that culture, like Greek families as well, they tend to gravitate toward like very similar cultural like kind of cliches,
Sure.
right? Like certain brands of scotch, right? Cutty Sark in my family, and I know
Italian food.
in Greek families, yeah, Italian food, exactly. Similar types of music, similar types of brands that they wear, right? There's a cultural normality, predictability, kind of tradition that you identify with as a child, and that you develop your own relationship with as an adult.
Sure.
And I do not like I don't generally dress like my uncles. Not generally. Sometimes I do.
Which is what, very formal?
Yeah, like you never wear jeans. Like you don't wear jeans.
Exactly.
Right. But the one thing that I have carried with me very much has been my taste in watches.
Mm-hmm.
And Piaget was a brand that was very, very present in outer borough, particularly Italian American, or I think again Greek. Una faccia razza, kind of relationship. Like it was gaudy and it was the best. And you didn't live in a great house.
Right.
But you did have you had the best watch. You had the gaudiest watch, the most decadent watch.
Right.
Piaget rose to fame kind of in this era as like, no one's richer than a guy with a Piaget, even though that was not necessarily true. Right. But they were more decadent than the Rolexes that were comparable.
Yeah.
Piagets were better than the Cellinis.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Better.
Unbelievably
and
so.
generally speaking, better than the Paddocks. Not always. There are some really special Paddocks of the era.
Do you mean in terms of the
quality
case
of
styling?
construction?
Quality.
And
okay,
design.
general quality.
Yes, it's insane how well these Piagets are built.
Right.
It's insane. So as I got into watches, I started to collect like thin gold watches that like my uncles wore when I was a child, and when I first started buying them, I was a little bit embarrassed about it. I wasn't like super comfortable in my style yet,
Sure,
so you're a little bit like hedging a little bit. But then I got more into it, and then I started buying things that were a little bit more, I guess, like gaudy and whatever, like gold. But I really didn't feel confident enough to allocate a lot of money toward it.
Sure.
Right, I was trying to buy like the off-brand stuff exclusively.
Concord,
Concord,
like
and I still have a Concord, which I love. But then this year I was offered what is essentially new old stock Piaget Polo with original box, paperwork, full links, and everything.
That watch is insane.
And I bought it very late one night, and that watch was very cool to me. And I didn't think I was going to keep it.
Yep.
I bought it, and I was like, oh, I want to just see it and hold it, and then probably one day I'll sell it.
You even said it to me. How could I wear a museum piece?
Exactly.
Like a brand new piece.
And then I started wearing it, and I love it. And it's kind of ugly, and it's definitely gaudy. And I have other watches that I actually think are more beautiful, more Piagets I think are more balanced and beautiful.
Yeah.
But that Piaget to me, is such a declaration. It is such an unapologetic expression of myself and my relationship with my family and jewelry.
Sure. Yeah.
So I love that watch, and I've worn it many, many times.
Oh,
and I've worn it casually as often as I've worn it formally.
Would you say Cartier was the brand that your family all kind of associated with as what Piaget is, but it took you a long time to be like, oh wait, it is Cartier, sure, but really it's Piaget?
Yeah, it was never really Cartier. Like Cartier was too classy.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like
classy.
Even what you're wearing right now, the tank,
right?
Class.
This is old money.
Right. Exactly.
Piaget's not old money.
Exactly.
Piaget's new money.
But
if you touch the money of Piaget, the green comes off on your fingers.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right. It's still warm.
It's still warm.
Right.
Exactly. So yeah, like I love Cartier. God knows, I'm a big Cartier fan. But I do not associate myself with Cartier as much as I do with Piaget. That being said, like I think that it's pretty well like founded that the Theo and Harris channel, not just me, but me and you and Anna when Anna was in the channel and whoever else has been on the channel have played a very large role in the repopularization of Cartier, particularly affordable Cartier. Like
Cartier is unreal.
We've played a very large role in like Cartier's revival.
Old Christian, not in car stage, but a little after that.
Right. When I had a couple, not any money at all, God knows, but when I had like $3,000, I was like, I'm gonna buy Cartier. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the dream. The dream is to be Jack Kennedy, who wore an Omega, by the way. But that, it was, yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
This video is sponsored by Squarespace. You need a website or domain if you don't already have one.
Long story short, I wouldn't be sitting here if it hadn't been for Squarespace. When I was starting my business, I didn't have a huge budget to invest in web development, nor did I have the skills to build my website that I needed on my own. I had neither, but Squarespace solved that for me. Not only did they enable me through their incredibly intuitive and just really brilliant template system to build a beautiful website, and people immediately thought it was a website that I had paid thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for, but they helped me build a functional website, a website that I was able to build into a business that, I mean, like, sold a lot of freaking watches. Like, it was amazing. I can't believe what Squarespace enabled me to do. So I don't just suggest you take a look at Squarespace if you're starting a business and need a website. I also highly suggest, maybe even more so, that if you already have a website and a business, that you take a look at Squarespace, just poke around and consider migration over, because what Squarespace can do for you, the way that they can enable you and empower you, I think is truly beyond what you're used to. It is beyond maybe even your wildest imagination, because that's exactly the experience that I had with Squarespace. That's it. I couldn't possibly think more highly of them.
Yeah, and Squarespace now makes it easier than ever with their new Fluid engine to drag and drop text and images. You can schedule a blog post, and Squarespace will grow with you if you have a retail shop or you're going to have one with their own point of sales system. So if that sounds good to you, sounds good to me, you can check out the link in our description and use our code TheoHarris to save 10% off your first order of a website or domain.
What's the second watch you wore most?
Zenith Upper Mirror Revival Shadow, which that watch I don't have a good memory buying. I watched a video on it. I loved it, but at that time, I was just working so much that I wasn't really enjoying anything. It would be like stay up till midnight or past that, then like watch videos that weren't made by us, and then just I saw that watch, I was like, oh, cool. So I didn't have a good, I didn't buy that because I succeeded. It was almost like the opposite.
Yeah, right.
But then I got the watch and I was like, wow, this is really a special watch.
Yeah, it's a nice watch.
I was very struck at just how tiny it was in the box. And I was like, yeah, I was so excited that it was small at the time. I remember being like, okay, this is good. This could be a watch that I wear every single day. And I remember bringing it here and you seeing it and being shocked.
I think it's one of the best watches on the market.
Yeah, it totally is. But I remember that was the first approval I had because nobody else saw it yet.
Yeah, right.
So you're like, whoa.
I took it outside.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to see it on my wrist in the light. I was like, you mind? No.
And that was the moment I was like, oh, cool.
This is a cool watch.
Yeah, I found a cool watch.
Yes.
And then that was really, I was like, oh, I really want to wear a chronograph at all times.
Yes.
So that has been my chronograph this year. And I've thought about selling the Explorer, which has a lot more memories to it, but I can't think about selling the Zenith.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Zenith, it's such a if you know watch. Like that is one of the greatest watches under $15,000.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah,
right.
it's one of the best.
Yeah.
And no one really has it. Like Zenith is really underappreciated. The watches are incredible.
Truly.
And no one's really got that watch. It's almost like Breguet. Like it's very similar. Like brand perception is Breguet. Like everyone knows they're good.
But
no one's gonna buy one.
Exactly.
But meanwhile, it's like, no, you really ought to be looking at these brands.
Yeah.
Like they're undervalued. They deliver disproportionate value. It's crazy.
They're amazing watches.
Yeah.
I will say though that I don't know why I always took the Explorer like when I was going and traveling everywhere, but I can definitely now feel the sentimental value on the Explorer a lot more. But the Zenith is still harder to let go of because I'm like, well, this is that watch. This is the watch everybody like for my job or when I'm traveling, whatever. People are like, wow, that's a crazy cool watch.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. The second watch that I wore, I'm not doing it in order, but was my GMT.
You bought that this year too, right?
I bought that in December of last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was, I bought that watch kind of on a whim. I was looking to get a gold Rolex sports model.
Yep.
And I considered the Smurf, and then one night, I may have even been with you. I don't know at what point I decided GMT, but I was like, oh, wait. I kind of fumbled into the best story ever.
Yeah.
I kind of fumbled in to, wait, no, I got to get the white gold GMT to carry on this tradition of Zerone men wearing GMTs.
Right.
My dad's first watch was a GMT, and my dad's first Rolex was GMT, and then my first sports Rolex was a GMT, and and I think that it is it was developed in the 1950s, 1954, I think, and it was the watch for the jet set. And my dad traveled a lot growing up, and I travel a lot now, and it's the only watch basically I'll wear on a plane because it makes me think of my dad, and it makes me think of like how I can only speak about this from a man's perspective, but I'm sure this is true for women as well. But I think that being on a plane and going to work is like a really special feeling. I take a lot of pride in that. I love traveling for work, even though I don't like it.
Right.
I don't like it at all. I want to be home.
We both want to go home.
I want to be home.
We want to go home.
But I'm very, very proud at the idea that like you're good enough to be called across the country to solve a problem. That is cool.
Right.
That is cool. Like I love that idea because keep in mind it's like everything, my whole narrative and it's not public. It's like totally like real and I live it every day.
Yeah.
It's very much like, wow, it's almost like Freaky Friday. Like you woke up in someone else's body. It's like, that's kind of cool. You're kind of cool for once. Not to say you're the coolest, because God knows you're also kind of weird. But you know what I mean? Like as a kid, I never thought that, I'd like be on a plane going to work like my dad. My dad is like a best friend. Like I'm not gonna say my best friend, because my mom and my dad, who's a closer friend, is a ridiculous question. But like it's like in many ways is my idol. Like and it's like I'm like dad a little bit. Like that's amazing. And it's just a really special watch for me. I also think it's beautiful and it's totally under the radar, even though everyone knows it's white gold because I talk about it here all the time.
When you first got it though, it was not beautiful. I was like,
it was bad, and I had it totally overhauled and polished. It was like a ton of money, which made me sick.
But when you first you walked into your house when I was talking with your mom, and I could see the loom glowing from like across the room. But I could see how upset you were, and you're like, I don't know. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I don't know why this guy chewed it up. And then it looks brand new.
It looks brand new, and I wore it a ton this year, and I thought it was too big on me, and it may still be too big on me. Like when I'm wearing short sleeves, I have very scrawny arms. It's not a very flattering thing about me. That's why I always wear long sleeves. But you're like, yes,
I know. Oh, they know. What they do.
But that watch has been really, really special to me. I don't think it will ever represent anyone else but my father. I don't care how many dates it goes on. I don't care anything like that. That watch will always be my dad's, and relatively speaking, my dad will always have achieved more than me because of where he comes from. And I am, what do they say? Like, you're not flying, you're standing on the shoulders of giants. Like that's it. So that watch is very much that. And I look forward to one day having that bond with my son. And if I'm ever lucky enough to have a son, and I hope very much he decides to carry on that tradition and buy his own GMT.
Has to be platinum.
And exactly. And I know that will be incredibly redundant if and when he does, because that would be the third Pepsi GMT in our family. And what do we do with them after a while? It's kind of how many generations, and then who stops it? That's sad, because some little shithead will stop it.
Well, third generation, I think, is when it starts going back up.
Unless
they start selling one every year.
Unless we just do it like he gets my dad's. Like I'm very much, and I'll toss it back on you in a second, but I'm very much about like hand it down while you're still alive. And we posted this on the Zero pretty recently. We're doing community wrist shots, and they're not just wrist shots, they're like really long stories, because I'm essentially interviewing members on the Zero about their wrist shots. Right. The Zero is our private community. There's a link down below. If you'd like to join, go ahead and take a look. Even if on a 7-day free trial, it doesn't matter. But come take a look, because it's one of the really special things we've been doing lately. Is like, I don't just want to see your watch. I've seen watches. I don't really care. Not that I don't care, but you know what I mean. Relatively speaking, I have Instagram.
Great. You have a day just. That's fantastic, right?
But we're taking a very, and it happened very organically, like a Humans of New York approach to wrist shots.
Cool.
And it's like, I interview, because that's what I do like for a living a lot of the time. And it's like, together, we're going to put together a story that not only makes you feel like, wow, I can't believe my story's in print. But like hundreds of people are going to see it and be like, It's going to make their day better.
Yeah.
And someone recently posted, a guy's name was Mark. Say it's funny. I know people's names on this video. That's cool.
Was it JLC?
His name is Mark. No, that was a beautiful one.
That was
too.
fantastic. Yeah.
Here's Mark, and he posted a photo of his little son, little baby son, wearing a Browns, like beanie.
Yeah.
And with his Submariner on, and the basic
son is wealthy.
The son is rich.
That son started off well.
And the point was like, this is my dad's watch, and I don't want to tell the whole thing. You have to go join the Zero or whatever. But the point was like, this will never be my watch.
Right.
And this will never be my son's watch.
Right.
This will always be my hero's watch.
Oh, it was his father's watch.
It's his father's watch.
Oh, wow.
So it's like how special. He bought it brand new in '85. Like, this is the coolest thing in the world. And that to me is really what makes watches matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my GMT, and I'm very, very proud to wear it every time I do. Like when I did like a photo. Malcolm took a headshot of me the other day, and he's like, "What watch are you gonna wear? Like your Pepsi, and not your Pepsi, your Datejust?" And I'm like, that would be good, but no, I think I'm gonna wear my GMT.
That would be good, Malcolm, if you had a brain.
Yeah.
if you had whatever.
But I think I'm gonna wear the GMT, like be like my dad.
Yeah. Right.
If you love watches like I do, if you think that they mean something more than the time, then head on over to theoandharris.com and shop our selection of vintage watches and handmade straps. They're unique and they're special, and once they're gone for good.
So I feel like I know the answer to the question. The want for an AP Chrono or a Paddock still there or completely gone?
The AP Chrono want is gone.
Gone. Okay.
For the moment, at least. I don't have a desire for an AP chronograph.
Filled by the GMT or just naturally faded?
Just naturally faded. I just naturally faded. Like most things. Like most things you want, if you don't get them, you get over them. Like that's generally some pretty good advice.
Enough time goes by, you're like, all right, I forget it.
Exactly. It's fine. You just don't care. This, so far as a Paddock is concerned, like I would love to buy a new Paddock someday. It'd be cool. Yeah. Keeping in mind, like guys, I do this, like I'm talking about watches every day. So, and I'm surrounded by people who want to talk about watches every day.
Yes.
So I am, while deeply, madly in love with the hobby, and I'm so grateful for it. Like I don't have the same level of like, imagine buying a Paddock, how special that would be. Cause like, I see it every single day.
So
yeah, I'd like a Paddock for sure, for a lot of real reasons. But like I'm not drooling and fawning over that. I'm not dreaming about the idea the same way that you might as a medium for escapism. Right? My escapism is cooking. Like that's.
It is the second. Like I call you at 9. We're talking about watches till the end of the day.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So that's that's the nutshell. But I'd still love a good Paddock. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That makes sense.
What is the next watch that you've worn most this year?
The Hamilton Pilot Pioneer.
Yeah, that's a good watch.
I know this is the bigger discussion on my end because we did a video a while ago, maybe it was a podcast, where we were talking about a yellow gold Day-Date is the watch that you would get from me because I don't feel like I'm in the position to buy one, even if I can buy one,
of course,
right now. And the Hamilton Pilot Pioneer,
you're like, which I can do,
I can buy one, you guys. The Hamilton Pilot Pioneer, which is also, it's important to the story. That's why I can get one. The Hamilton Pilot Pioneer was the first watch, because I was sticking to Explorer and Zenith. It was the first watch under $1,000 that I've worn in a while, besides like a G-Shock. And I was like, oh, this feels much more right or much more me than the two watches that I've worn basically throughout the year and for a few years now. Because the other two purchases, while I love them, they seem like they're a bit foolish. And I don't feel like I'm at a place in my life where I should be congratulating myself with fancy watches. It's still at that stage where I'm like, why did I do that? What is that money doing right there?
Totally.
So that was a really big epiphany with that watch. And I love the styling of the watch. I love that it's mechanical. I love that they kept it the same size from its inception. But that feeling hasn't gone away yet. Now I'm wearing my G-Shock, but I've been wearing the G-Shock quite a bit. Just where I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not there yet. Like maybe I am in a position where I can buy those watches and other watches, but it's still a feeling of like, you're congratulating yourself before you got like a quarter way through a race. And I was thinking like, it's like I'm running a marathon or whatever. So are you, but like I'm drinking Mountain Dew on like the first mile because I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, it was a pretty fast first mile. You know what I
you're
mean?
right. I get what you mean, and I know that analogies aren't perfect, so I'm not trying to come at your analogy, but I think that the difference is the Mountain Dew will make you run slower.
Right.
A congratulatory watch won't.
Interesting.
It just won't.
Right.
You know, again, an appropriate one, like
sure,
whatever.
sure.
You know, that's just kind of how I feel. And I'm not telling you to buy an expensive watch.
No.
I certainly don't mean that. Like, I think the most important thing about spending money is making sure that you feel better after you do. If you don't think you're going to feel better after you do, then you don't need to spend the money.
Yeah.
That is stupid.
Yeah.
You missed the entire point.
Exactly.
If you feel like after you buy a watch, you probably shouldn't have bought
And don't
that
keep
watch.
it because you're like, what? Well, I did just get a promotion. Like, no, you feel bad.
Watches are so special, and I'm sure the watches you're buying are so special. So to ruin them by buying them too soon is bad.
Exactly.
For sure. God, it's not that serious. It's not positive affirmations in the mirror, God knows.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, like, it is okay to buy something nice for yourself every once in a while.
Right.
And you do. Like, you actually, it was one of the first things I noticed about you with the whole leather jacket.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, you made $1,000 and you went and spent it. Like, that's cool. That's, you know, that's what I did. You know, when I bought the bag I still wear. Right?
Yeah.
I spent $500. I barely had $500.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I just think that, you know, every once in a while it's good to buy something or to go on a trip and just, but you don't really think twice about trips. So that maybe that's your congratulations lap, or maybe that's the, you know, I'm doing it. I just blew a lot of money on a vacation.
Well, that's the thing. My trips are also incredibly cheap.
Well, how do I make less? How do I make less money? How you? The joke was, can you tell me how to spend less money?
How do I make less money?
Yeah.
Michael?
Yeah, you know, I was kidding, of course, but spend money every once in a while and congratulate yourself, because you know that not only I, but everyone here on the channel thinks the world of you, and you deserve,
thank you.
You know, not whatever nice shit you want, because that's bad, but
that's
you deserve a lot of nice shit. So, or maybe you just have the ultimate inner contentment and nothing matters at all.
Well, that's the whole. Well, I've purchased my dad. I don't think I've ever said it on the channel. I bought my dad a vintage Sea Dweller this year. That changed everything. Yeah. Because I was with Taylor. Taylor was there. She was like, "Oh, you were adjusting the bracelet," which, by the way, my dad's wrist is so big. Mm-hmm. There were links in the bracelet. It was like a full size bracelet. I took one off of my Explorer and put it on his watch. It's still too small. Oh. I took 2 links off of my Explorer, put it on his full sized bracelet, and then it fit.
Oh my God.
That is a wrist and a half.
That's a huge wrist.
But Taylor was like, oh, it was so cute seeing like you adjusting his watch, like seeing your Rolex and his Rolex. Yeah. And I was like, you know what though? Like, I'm in the watch world and I'm always around Rolexes and stuff like that. Like, to me, I was like, well, that's the family Rolex, not mine. Like, that is.
I get that.
Yeah, that's definitely mixed in where I was like, oh, like if there's that one that's like at my parents' house on Cape, in the safe, because my dad doesn't wear it that often or something like that. Like that is almost good enough for me.
I could definitely see you being more proud of that watch than your own. Like
by far,
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Period.
Yeah, that is by far probably. We'll talk about watch purchases in a second, but that is what I'm most proud of, like ever. Yeah, and I have to do it for my mom soon too, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. You have to even it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but that was the big thing this year with the Hamilton. So now I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do yet with watches yet, but I'm also spending a lot of money buying 300 jackets for the sale.
Right.
So
no, you're spending a lot of money, and that's the most important thing. Like, if you're actually, when you're investing in a business, the equations totally go off. Like, it's no longer about saving money; it's about investing money in your future and all that stuff. That's more important for sure. You know. Period.
But yeah, that's the Hamilton.
I think that the third watch that I wore most, and it's tough to say. Like, maybe I'll say the third watch, and then I'll give you a bonus. Okay. You're like, okay, that was not the format of the video. And I'd appreciate it if you just stuck to the video.
To what I wrote. The computer's off right now.
The third watch I think I may have worn the most was my Cartier Tank Normal. And I gotta be honest with you, I didn't wear it that much. I just wore the Polo and the in GMT that much. Yeah. So the Tank Normal, I don't think it was worn that much.
Which, when you got it, that was kind of before the Piaget phase, right?
I don't really
remember.
Stage,
I should say. Because I feel like you got that, you were incredibly excited about it, and then you hopped on Piaget.
I think you may be right.
Yeah.
I think that's probably true. I wore that watch a bit. And I like it with a, again, back to the whole sleeveless thing. Like when I'm wearing the sleeve, I wear the Cartiers because they're so small and I think that they fit on my scrawny wrist better.
They look great on your wrist.
Yeah, they look great because I'm
big,
so,
right?
exactly. So I think that looks good, especially when I'm wearing a smaller. And I think that, there are a lot of outfits that I'll wear, particularly when I'm going to a meeting where I just don't think a Piaget is appropriate. I think it sends the wrong message. And it could send the right message if I was given a chance to explain it, but I'm not going to be given a chance to explain it. So I need to like just live with the understanding that like you don't have a chance, so just wear the thing that doesn't make people go, who is that?
Yeah, right.
So, and my Cartier Tank Normal is totally that because it's elegant and it's small, but it's not too small, and it's unpolished, and it's manually wound, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful watch.
Yeah, truly.
We actually have another Tank Normal in the shop right now. That's a ladies model.
Oh, yes.
Again, manually wound, and it's incredible. I actually wore the ladies model last night because the men's model, my personal model, is at the bank. So I was like, I'm not going to go downstairs. I'm just going to wear the ladies one, which I think fits well on a man. It fits really well. In fact,
what's the size difference?
It's tough to say, but it's significant.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's a significant jump.
Wow.
Yeah, you would never mistake the two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not that the man's size is big.
Oh, yeah,
God knows it's not, But I wore that watch a lot. That watch is meaningless to me. It means nothing. It's the only watch I took away to Italy with me. I went to Italy like 4 times this year.
The Normal?
Yeah.
Wow.
But one of those 4 times, it was the only watch I took away with me because it was so easy to wear.
Right.
It was just so easy to wear. I just never,
you don't question it, right?
I didn't question it. Whereas my GMT could be heavy sometimes. Like I don't wear it all. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just doesn't go with everything. I don't know. Maybe it does.
And it was hot in Italy, so you probably didn't want to show off your.
Yeah. Yeah, my arms. The Cartier I wore a lot, but the bonus I'll say is in the last 2 weeks I've worn my Datejust a lot.
The original Datejust.
Yeah. And frankly, that watch does not get that much wrist time.
Yeah, right.
I've historically tried to wear it twice a month. But I don't know. It's so easy. It's at the bank. I mean, just not gonna go to the bank and grab my Datejust.
Right.
It's fine. I'll just wear a different watch today. It's not a big deal.
Right. It's at work.
But right. But I pulled it out like 2 weeks ago, and I actually put a green strap on it, which I don't even know if it goes.
Suede or alligator?
Alligator.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't even know if it goes, but it doesn't matter to me because my favorite color is green, and my favorite watch is that Datejust, or the most meaningful watch maybe in my collection is that Datejust, and the combination makes me happy. So even if it doesn't actually look good, which it may not, I'm totally okay with it.
Yeah.
And I don't usually say that. Like I'm pretty coordinated.
Yeah. Right.
But no, I'm like, no, I love this. I really. It's alligator. It's green, alligator, and my Datejust. Those are 3 things that I adore, and it makes me happy. And it's really brought me back, I think, a little bit to where I kind of always knew I was headed, which was like to like the roots, like a swatch. You know what I mean? Like it's very much like that. I've been getting compliments on it lately. And I'm like, wow, those help. Yeah. Like, wow, what a neat watch. That is so cool.
Right.
I get compliments everywhere, but at watch events. People are like, oh, that's the Datejust.
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't get the point.
Right.
Exactly. They think it's because it's not $100,000. It's not cool. But I disagree. I think it's really, really cool. And I'm really happy to be wearing it.
You say, I think it is worth $100,000. And I'm like, well, wait,
it's not.
That's not the right take at all. You have to think it's cool for yourself. No.
No, I think if I sold it because of provenance, because I owned it,
I mean, I've been talking about it for years. The value has to be unbelievable.
I'm gonna sell it as an NFT.
Yeah. I'll give you a bonus.
Let's go.
My G-Shock, funny enough, $120 watch, solar powered, whatever. I love wearing it. I wear it all the time. I love that I can do a bunch of things on it, but I struggle with the idea that it is not like if I died, it's like, oh, that was his watch. Like, as amazing as a G-Shock is, it's not going to be something I feel like would be cool. Or like, I picture if I died, I don't have kids, but they'd be like, oh, nice. Like a piece of rubber that's kind of polished down because of how much he wore it. Like,
right.
So that's interesting because I would wear this watch all the time, but that I always think about it. And not because I'm worried about what my kids will think or something like that.
Right.
Just as Michael personally, I'm like, okay, that I don't like that. It has unbelievable durability, but not longevity.
I agree with that, and I don't think that your kids will care about that watch. I don't think it matters.
Right.
But I think that your kids will always own G-Shocks. And that's maybe what matters more.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that watch won't look good in 40 years. Like it'll look
It won't
ratty.
look good in 4 years,
Right.
3 years. Yeah, right.
But your kids, if assuming you have kids, or anyone, any of your disciples, will be like,
which there are a lot.
will be like, no, I need to get you need a G-Shock in your Rolodex because I don't know why. I think my dad always talked about it. Like my dad always said that you needed a G-Shock.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
He was hit by a bus.
He was hit by a bus, and the G-Shock's fine.
Yeah,
It looks ugly, but I have my own.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's definitely true, and I think that's more important.
Yeah, yeah. That's something I always run into, like even not just with watches, with fashion too. It's like, okay, that's a really cool jacket that I would love to wear right now, but I'm not going to wear it forever. Why would I ever want that?
Right.
And it's like, well, it's because right now you do want it. And
Right.
You do want to wear it.
Yeah.
That's something I'm terrible at differentiating between those two.
Right. Yeah. But I think this is a great episode.
So do I.
If you liked this episode, please like it and subscribe to our channel if you love watches. If you want even more content, be a member of our little tight-knit family on the Zero. Go ahead, down to the link in the bio and join us, even for a 7-day free trial. Doesn't matter to me. If you do join, please shoot me a DM. I'd love to say hi and chat watches with you. We can't possibly answer all the YouTube comments. It's just not possible. But I can engage with you there, even though we have a lot of people over there now, and it actually is getting difficult to engage. But I will not relinquish. I will continue to do it. I know people's names over there, and I'm not going to stop.
What was that guy's name?
It's amazing. Mark.
Boom.
Yeah. What's up, Mark? But that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you soon.